I'm Nick Cutroneo, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This week's video, the demo of my artist patch, Slipry Whn Smbra. Last week, I released a video covering all of the guitar solos from Bon Jovi's Slippery When Wet album. This celebrated the 30th anniversary of the release of that album. For that cover video, I decided to create a whole new patch emulating the sound and tones that Richie Sambora got on that album. If you haven't seen that video, click here to watch it. While that video only showcases 2 lead sounds, this patch is a 4-channel patch. It's set up with 4 stomps at the top and then 4 snapshots at the bottom. The channels are clean, crunch, and 2 lead sounds. There isn't much written about Richie's clean sounds during this era, and in fact there aren't a lot of clean tones on this album. Listening to Never Say Goodbye, you can hear that it's pretty much your standard 80s clean sound. So I opted for a Roland jazz chorus model. Instead of using chorus, I decided to use the dual pitch effect to create a thicker chorusing sound. This patch works best with single coil sounds, and in fact I'm using the 2 inner coils of my Majesty to replicate that position 2 or 4 sound that you would find on a Strat. Let's go through the signal chain. I start with a compressor just to level out the sound a little bit between the clean and all the other channels. I then have my amp model, which is the that jazz chorus. Finally, on the next path, I've got a dual pitch, which is creating our chorus sound, and then there is a pretty moderate delay in this patch. Then it gets split. The signal gets split to 2 different cabs. You'll see one cab and the other cab. They're both the same cabinet. I use different mics to give me a little bit of a broader tonal palette. And then you'll notice that in front of one of the cabinets, I'm using another delay. Now this delay is set to a very, very short delay with only a single repeat. And the purpose of that is to duplicate the sound of a double-tracked guitar. So it thickens and broadens out the sound a little bit. After the cabinets, I've got a reverb block, which is just a nice hall reverb to give a nice airy sound. And finally, I have a volume pedal. So now let's hear some tones. During the Slippery days, the core of Richie's dirty sound was a Marshall JCM 800. I'm using a single Brit 2204 amp, and I'm using 2 412 cabinet models with a split in the signal to create a double-tracked sound. You'll notice that the short delay that I created is still on, and that, along with the chorus that I've added in this patch, really thickens and brightens up the sound. Let's take a look at the signal flow. We start this signal chain off with a noise gate. The noise gate's there just to deal with some of the hissing that comes from using a high-gain amp. Next, I have a tube screamer, followed by a chorus, and then finally all 3 of those effects are going into the front end of the amp. Going to the next path, I've got 2 412 cabinets, the same 412 cabinets that I had with the clean patch, as well as that really short delay. After that, I've got a room reverb, and then finally the volume pedal is active. Now let's hear the patch. For the first lead sound, the only changes that I've made to my signal chain is that I've turned on the delay. It's the same delay and the same settings that I had on my clean sound. I found that that setting worked both really well for clean as well as lead. And I also have a gain block activated. Now let's hear the patch. The second lead sound includes the octave divider, and that octave divider is placed right at the very beginning of the signal chain. I'm using the pitch wham effect to give me the higher octave. Everything else about this patch is the same as the first lead patch. It has the added delay, and it has the added gain block to increase the volume. I decided to make this its own dedicated lead channel because this sound is used so much on the album. It also helps minimize tap dancing of pedals. Now let's hear the patch. Finally, the top row of buttons on the Helix is set for 4 Stompboxes. I wanted to give instant access to the 4 core effects of this patch in case you wanted to change up any of the sounds. Going from left to right, there's the octave divider, followed by a delay, followed by the chorus, and then I have a more button. And under that more button is actually the Minotaur effect. Now, while I never used the Minotaur at all on any of the solos from the video, I did use the gain boost on my Majesty, which is accessible through a push-push pot on the volume knob. Now, not every guitar has this option, and in knowing that, I decided to give you a pedal option of this in case you need a little bit more sustain on some of your slower leads. Well, there you have it. That's a summary and an overview of my Slipry Whn Smbra patch. It's available on my website for $2.99. The website address is down here, www.nickcutroneo.com/store. I'll also include a link in the description below. In addition, if you're interested in my Mark IV 4-channel patch, that's available for free download on my website. Thanks for watching, and feel free to hit that subscribe button down below. I regularly post guitar-related content throughout the week. And if you like this video, please click that thumbs up, and also please feel free to share this with your friends.